Nice. What's going on, everybody? Sorry for being a little bit late today. My sleep schedule continues to be really screwed up. That's good. Just continues to be just a train wreck. But hey, I'm here. I'm here. We're here. Just exactly 1 hour late. Once again, I apologize. My intention is not to waste anybody's time. But sometimes you just gotta do the dishes. I made food last night, and I ate all of it, and, late, and then fell asleep, and didn't do the dishes. So, pick up after yourself, etc., etc. So, I had to clean up my mess. But damn, was that food good. I made cranberry meatballs with baked carrots and mashed potatoes. It was delicious. Can I ask a question about cars? Always. Cranberry meatballs. Make meatballs, right? And then you season them with a cranberry roux. Fancy. Fancy. Just don't you make me hungry again. Sorry. Sorry, I'm late. I'm watching Steve Dangle fall apart. Oh, I don't know what that means, but all right, cool. Is it possible to make a car go the speed of sound safely? It's possible, Linus, sure. But the car, you have to modify a car so much that it might as well not be a car. So there's this. Oh, that's Steve Dangle. All right, Fluffy. Yeah, I got you. Why? The Leafs doing Bruins things? Or are the Bruins doing Leaf things and just making awful trades and completely imploding before the playoffs? Because that's what the Bruins are doing right now. Whether that is a Leafs thing or a Bruins thing. I mean, it's kind of a Bruins thing, but, also. So, Linus, you can make a car go as fast as the speed of sound. But the second you do, it really isn't a car anymore. The Thrust SSC, if I'm remembering correctly, is quite actually an F-104 without wings. Or if it's not that one of the land speed cars is an F-104. They took a Lockheed F-104 and they just took its wings off and then shot that thing down a dry lake bed. They forgot how to play hockey against Florida. Dude, my team has that same problem. What the heck's that about? That one killed Jesse Combs. Yeah, it's also quite dangerous, dude. It's really... So, Linus, when you're approaching the speed of sound down here, in fact, I would contend to say that it's probably... I don't have an exact number. It is just way more difficult to go the speed of sound at sea level or near sea level. Dude, not even fighter planes do this stuff. Can fighter planes break the sound barrier down here? Yeah, sure, of course. You'll run out of gas really, really fast. Now, why? Why is that? Well, a land speed car, just like a fighter plane breaking the sound barrier closer to sea level, it has to move more air out of the way. And moving more air out of the way is going to make more drag. So you're fighting harder, and it is harder to break the speed of sound down here than it is up there. It's way harder. It's easy to go past Mach 1 when you're at 30,000 feet. When you're at 0 feet above sea level, or even 5,000 feet above sea level, it's a lot more difficult. So yes, there are land speed cars that can go faster than the speed of sound. But they are extraordinarily dangerous, and they just skirt the sound barrier. They're basically in the transonic regime, and they are very dangerous. Very dangerous. There's a reason why you don't see a Veyron or a Chiron going past the speed of sound. because they can't. You can't move the air out of the way fast enough. The air is too thick. And what happens when the air gets thick? You start to get shock heating, right? That's why the land speed cars that break the sound barrier are basically fighter jets without wings. The Bloodhound has been next year since like 2006. Yeah. Yeah, this thing. Like I said, you're getting into aerospace engineering when you're trying to get something to go this fast. It's basically a fighter plane without wings. That's what it is. It is so ridiculously easy to lose stability at that speed when you're on the ground. Now the reason why, once again, moving that air out of the way, right? You got to push the air up, and what that's going to do is that's going to put load on the springs. The downforce is going to push the wheels into the ground, and it can bottom out your suspension. If your suspension bottoms out, you die. You die. Like that's like, I don't have a better way to say that. If your suspension bottoms out, you're introducing structural loads into the car that it wasn't designed for. That's what I mean when I say, like, this is basically aerospace engineering at this point. You're trying to make a fighter jet go Mach 1 without taking off, which is really, really difficult. That's a really hard problem to solve. I would contend to say the amount of engineering that you need to make a car go the sound barrier down here, you might as well have just engineered a fighter jet. Just put the wings on it and just fly it instead, because it's really, really difficult. Yeah, that is tough. It's tough to do. Anyway, good question, man. Richard Hammond. Dude, Richard Hammond in the jet car wasn't even close to going near the sound barrier. Like, that car's top speed is like maybe Mach, like 0.5. Maybe, on a good day. I mean, on a bad day, it's Mach 0. I mean, ask Hammond. He knows that. But, yeah. On a bad day, it's Mach 0. Dons, g'day, mate. What's up, dude? Did you see the Blue Ghost landing? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I seen it. Did you see it? Yeah, dude, the Scalps cameras. I looked at these on Space News yesterday. It's crazy how quickly the dust settles. Crew 10 training, really cool stuff. Miro. Oh, this is great. This is some great B-roll, dude. Yep. A lot of time goes in, Squall. It's like I was saying during Crew 10, and once again, Crew 10 coverage will begin whenever NASA picks it up. We got to launch at 7, so it's probably going to begin in about 2 hours. As far as I can tell, dudes, we are not doing Flame Trench tonight. It's going to be tomorrow because of Crew 10 coverage, so that opens us up to just do Crew 10 coverage here, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to go Crew 10 coverage, and then we're going to go into... So, workers, Crew 10 coverage, Friday night racing. We got Sebring tonight, a big enduro race, 154 minutes at Sebring, which I have not practiced for at all. So, after Crew 10, I'm going to need some practice. We got to practice Sebring. Sebring is a very difficult track to drive. And then after that, there should be... There's an Electron launch before Friday night racing, Lightning God reigns, and then there is Transporter 13, which is 2:30 in the morning. So after racing, we have Transporter 13, which is the other reason why I didn't mind being super late to this stream, because this stream's going to end up being like 14, 15 hours. So, whatever. Let's roll. It's Friday night, baby. Let's go. Did you see the lunar eclipse? Not with my own eyes. I've seen everybody's pictures from today, though. Once again, I had every intention to stay up for it, Lemprod, and then I made food, and I fell asleep. I made food, and then I fell asleep. Didn't even do the dishes. Oh, there you go, Pat. You got your pick on Blue Ghost. That's cool. What an awesome mission. You know, like, yeah, dude, they nailed it like first try. It is pretty dang impressive. All right, so let's YAKOGRAD. We finished coal. We got the power plant figured out. We have to get all the construction resources done today, and I'll consider it a success if we start designing the city. Glad you didn't grandma's boy your hands at 2 a.m. Good reference, man. Good freaking reference. Nope, I got a message. Who shot me a message? All right, cool. Here's a tough one. What's more impressive? BGM-1 first try landing, Blue Ghost Mission 1. I've never heard anybody call it BGM-1. First try landing or Super Heavy first try catch? BGM-1 is more impressive, Erudite. The Super Heavy, don't get me wrong. You know I love Starship. The Super Heavy catch is fantastic, but SpaceX had mountains of data from Falcon 9 as experience on how to precisely land boosters. They had mountains of experience. Now, that does not mean that effort wasn't Herculean, but the fact that Firefly just cooked up Blue Ghost out of the blue, and just out of nowhere, well, not out of nowhere, it was Eclipse mission. The fact that they cooked that up, did it, nailed it on the first try, and the mission is still going right now, basically until the lunar night, is notoriously impressive and should not be understated. New SpaceX lunar eclipse post? SpaceX? Oh, there's Ellie. Oh, cool. Boop. Well then. Well then. That doesn't suck. Love you, brother. Let's get into it. All right, Lex, let's do it, bro. Let's go. Yo. They scrubbed it just so they could get these pictures. Wait a minute. Let me see those clamp arm hydraulics. Oh. Why is the clamp arm hydraulics all rusty like that? I mean, the answer is that it's because it's at the Cape, dude. Look at how crusty these freaking Heim joints are. Oof. So, guys, that part right there, this thing is potentially there's two of them. There's one here and then there's one on the other side. That thing potentially is the reason why the mission scrubbed. That thing right there. That rusty and crusty thing right there. Man. I was about to say, like, maybe put that in a housing or something. Not only does this have to survive the environment that, you know, out on the Cape, which is super, dude, stuff rust. You'll paint it, you powder coat it, it doesn't matter, it'll rust. Heck, stainless will even rust. It's ridiculous to an extent, right? Not only that, it has to deal with rockets launching as well, right next to it. I mean, how old is this transporter erector at this point? When did they build that TE? They built it in 2017 was its first flight, their first mission. What was it? 8 years? Man, that thing's old. Huh. Anyway. Just oil it and go. Dude, I would cake that thing in axle grease. That's actually what I did to the NSF trailer. I caked the thing in axle grease on purpose, so nothing... That's the only thing I can think of that's going to prevent rust. Clearly they would replace it if it wasn't okay, but I'd still prefer if the paint protected it a bit better. Yeah. I remember when that was new. Right? Right? Dude, that's the thought that I just had. I was like, wait a minute. Oof. Alright, anyway. So, if you missed part 15 yesterday, I redid the coal mine design to come up with a scalable system. Basically, you have a main belt throughput that goes like right here, right? And then between every piece, so you got your coal mine, coal ore aggregate storage, coal ore processing, coal storage, right? Between every single one of these things is a splitter and a merger, right? So basically, I made it so the stockpiles are scalable. So if I want to, for whatever reason, store more coal, we can, or coal ore. Now, we did the math out for maximum theoretical output of the Ashkikal coal mine here. The maximum theoretical output is 3 coal processing facilities with a movement rate of about 620 tons a minute, right? Each one of these does 200 tons. We have 620. Our maximum theoretical coal processing capability here is 603. That's pretty damn efficient. It's like well above 95th percentile in terms of precision if this mine is at theoretical maximum, right? So, because that was our theoretical maximum, I built out all 3 of the processing plants and how they're going to fit in with parking lots, waste, and everything that they need. We still got to do plumbing and drainage and everything, but we'll go from there. So, over here we have scalable coal storage here. This is going to basically be my coal reserves. So, down here, all we got to do, we have a splitter and a merger right there. All we have to do is add another aggregate storage, and another aggregate storage, and another aggregate storage, and another aggregate storage. We could probably get like, here, let's see what theoretical maximum capacity here is. That's theoretical maximum. So each one of these type of long boy aggregate storages holds about 2,000 tons. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We have enough for 12,000 tons of coal storage. So that's good. All we got to do if we want more coal storage is just add more to increase throughput or increase storage capacity, which is good. Hey, you gonna be watching F1 this year or waiting on the new regs? I'll watch it, Alleviate. I'll admit it. As much as I don't like Lewis Hamilton, he's piqued my interest. If he's piqued my interest with being at Ferrari. If anybody can win Ferrari a championship, it's him. And you know what, man? I'm not gonna lie, dude. I don't like Lewis Hamilton. I never liked him. But the reason why I don't like him isn't because oh, he's a dick. Like, I've said his off-track antics are a little ridiculous, but every Formula One driver, like, has their quirks, right? I've always said, like, dude, I remember I have VODs from, I mean, they're deleted now, so I can't really prove this to you, but I've always said that I'm just a salty Ferrari fan. I don't like him because he doesn't drive for my team. He's a damn freaking good driver and a titan on the freaking track. But so, like I said, this has piqued my interest, dude, for sure. And if anybody can bring a championship to Ferrari, it's him. And if he does, yeah, no, I'm good. All is forgiven. Hey, Poison, 47-month resub. Thank you. They put that transporter erector in around the time we cut the RSS off. Yeah, goalie, crazy. I got my Ferrari merch on. There you go. There you go. Poison, 47 months. Thank you, Flykin. What'd you say? Hey, for vehicles, they use U-joints and such for the rear axle to let it go up and down for suspension. What do they do for the front? How do they connect the front steering wheels to the wheels when the wheels move around with the suspension? Depends on the design, Flykin. Okay. Trucks use what's called a pitman arm. Older trucks, it depends on if the truck has a solid front axle or not. Let's just say it's like the 59. Give me 1 second. I'll show you. Give me one moment. I gotta find a good diagram. I know where to get one, though. Alright, here we go. This works. So, this is off a LMC truck, which has really nice diagrams from the service manuals. So, check this out. There's a steering box that's bolted to the frame of the truck. Frame rail is right here. And then there's another one on the other side, right? You have your solid front axle, right? This is what a solid front axle with 4x4 would look like on the 59. I don't have a solid axle exactly like this, but, you know, if it's a drive axle, it's much more pertinent, right? So you have your U-joint, right? And U-joint comes in here. The U-joint has what's called a slip yoke, right? So it allows the drive shaft can telescope, right? Now the suspension moves up and down, right? On the truck when it gets compressed and decompressed, right? There would be leaf springs here and then a shock absorber, right? So, you know, you have spring rate, you have dampen, you know, all that, right? On the truck, you have a pitman arm. The steering box has the input from the steering wheel and then an output that goes to a pitman arm. That's what this thing is called. Now, how the pitman arm moves depends on the design. This is just for 59 to 65 Fords. It's different on, like a Jeep would be different, right? So you have your radius arm. The radius arm is connected on a drag link. The drag link is connected to a steering arm, which is on your hub. See this? This piece right here is what allows the suspension to move. Because the suspension on a solid axle truck, say this is your frame, right? Or your frame would look like this, right? Say that's your frame. Your wheel is right here. You have your leaf spring, right? Your leaf spring has a shackle right here, right? And then you have your forward mount right here. So you got a shackle, right? The shackle can move this way. The shackle moves like this. The reason why the shackle moves, the leaf spring shackle moves back and forth like this is because when the leaf spring gets compressed, it goes from this to like that. When it gets compressed, it wants to go that way. So the shackle takes into account that movement, right? Now, the whole suspension, because of this type of movement, you'd think that the leaf spring goes up like this. It doesn't. Its travel, because this part is moving, is more like a radius, right? Its manner of travel is more along this line, which is why on the 59, if we go back over here, if you look right there and right there at the shock absorber mounts, they're like 45 degrees off. See the whole mount goes in a different direction, right? Because the shock absorber goes in the direction of the rate of travel to dampen out the bumps, right? That's your manner of travel. Now, when the suspension goes up, right, the slip yoke right here will telescope like that. It'll telescope back and forth, right? You know that. Now, steering, all right? Check it out. You have your steering box right here that goes to your steering wheel, right? Your steering wheel has that radius arm, and that radius arm goes like this. Notice something? Or the pitman arm right here goes like that. Notice something interesting. It does the exact same thing as the shackle. It's the same type of movement, right? And that's connected on a hinge piece to what's called a drag link right here. That's not a G. So the drag link is connected to the hub right here. See that? That's not a coincidence. See what I'm talking about? This right there, the drag link having a ball joint go this way and a ball joint goes going that way takes into account the suspension travel. Yep. Basically, but see, like, the cool thing about this is that this doesn't actually bend and flex. It just moves. So that makes it so you can, when you're driving down the road, you can go over a bump and you won't lose steering. Now, with this being said, this is a little bit of an outdated design. Because it's a little bit of an outdated design, and the reason why this isn't used anymore too much is because this does induce a little bit of bump steer. You go over a bump and the steering wheel wants to do this. Trust me, I know. I have a truck with this kind of axle in it. What they did to solve this problem is basically like the Kerbal equivalent of strutting everything. So here, let's take a look at like Ernox Camaro, for instance. I mean, Ernox Camaro doesn't have a solid front axle, but more modern trucks do something like this. What they did to solve this problem is come up with an idler arm for the pitman arm. Okay? So take a look. This is what more modern-ish suspension looks like, right? You have your steering box over here, and your pitman arm doesn't go out the side, it goes down. It goes down the bottom, and it swings this way. The pitman arm is connected to a drag link. The drag link is connected to an idler arm, which mimics the motion of the steering box on one side, right? From there, you have your tie rod ends that go to the steering knuckle. Doing it this way effectively mitigates bump steering. This is much more controllable. Like I said, it's like the Kerbal equivalent of strutting your whole steering mechanism together. But how do you strut a steering mechanism together when it has to move? Well, a lot of ball joints and a lot of moving parts. See what I mean? That's what like, if you looked at, like my Ford truck, the 97 has something very similar to this. The 97 is very similar, but it does not have an idler arm. It actually is, it has what's called a drag link, where you basically have the pitman arm going down to the hub over here. This piece is connected to there, and then that piece is connected all the way over here. You don't have the drag link goes from here to the tire. And then there's another ball joint and a tie rod that goes all the way to the other tire. It's kind of more like this. Like that. See what I'm talking about? But once again, it doesn't use a side swinging pitman arm. They figured out that if you put it down and have the pitman arm work like this instead of like that, you eliminate bump steer. Yep. Does that help? Now I got to get back to work. Oh, yeah, Alex, for sure. I just wanted to point out that if you want to transport concrete mats to the cargo depot, you didn't run the cargo frontage track on your construction mat area. Not that there is an issue with this if you want to use trucks. Yeah. I know. The idler arm wears out, and the edge of your tires wear faster than the center. Yeah. I mean, any steering component on any car, because of this Flykin, like, it's one of those problems that you don't really get rid of, you just mitigate. All the steering hardware on any type of car, the ball joints eventually wear out. Because you're trying to make your tires do this, right? When the tires can also do this. Like, that's why everything has ball joints, right? But eventually, just like, like a baseball pitcher would eventually wear out their arm, right? The ball joints eventually wear out. You got to replace them. So the solution in the automotive industry here to this kinematic problem is to just make more ball joints. Make the ball joint as simple as possible and make a ton of them, which is exactly what they do. Is that why you get loose steering? Yes, loose steering happens when something gets wallered out. Yep. Or on an older car, so GM introduced this in the 70s. They have something called a rag joint. The rag joint is designed to eliminate road vibrations in the steering wheel. It's a believe it or not, a piece of cloth on the steering rack or on the steering column, right? That at the end of the steering column where it goes into that steering box that moves the pitman arm, there's a damper, and that damper is basically just it's like a gasket that's made out of cloth. It's called a rag joint. The rag joint can fail. When it fails, because it's made out of freaking cloth, it'll eventually decay away into nothing. When it fails, yeah, your steering will be a lot more violent on trucks. That's like trucks in the 70s and 80s. Nowadays, most cars use what's called rack and pinion. Rack and pinion steering is basically the convergent design of the easiest way to get rid of most of the problems that I'm talking about. Yeah. It steers to the right when it's centered. Well, that's because now on top of everything, you got to get everything aligned, right? If you replace something and you didn't get it right, your tire could be like this. That's where camber, caster, and toe alignment gets involved. But anyway, I got to get to work, dudes. We don't have a lot of time here because Crew 10, when the Crew 10 coverage starts, I'm switching to it. So, construction mats is the name of the game today. Also, the spur line. Yeah, Andrew, for certain construction materials, for bricks and for prefabs, we'll just deliver them to this place via truck, right? And basically, it delivers it to the construction stockpile. And then from here, the construction stockpile can be shipped out via train pretty much anywhere. Does that make sense, dude? So, I want to move construction mats. The prefabs and bricks, I already put the provisions for them over here. Okay? Now the rest of the construction materials, gravel. No, yeah, prefabs and bricks. That's what I want. So that one's taken care of. Asphalt, you really can't. That's not something that you kind of store for long periods of time because asphalt is an on-demand thing because you have to heat it up bitumen and gravel and make the tar, right? It has a shelf life, so that's kind of an on-demand thing, so you don't need to worry about moving that anywhere. Concrete is the same idea, but cement is not. So, cement we can store in dry bulk storage, right? So, cement, gravel, and coal are the we need to make an aggregate loading thing right here on a side frontage track, right? We need to put that all on a side frontage track so we can, damn it. I was starting to get ready to go to work and I hadn't finished my explanation. We need to put those here because bricks and prefabs can just move via truck to the cargo terminal down here that I've already made for them. There's no need to put a cargo depot for them here and a cargo depot for them here. Moreover, there's no point in putting maybe put the cargo depot here and put the aggregate here. There's no reason to do that because if we did that way, this is just going to move parts over there. It's actually better just to move them by a truck back and forth with a distro. Like, I think that actually would be better than loading up a train, having it go a mile down the tracks, and introducing more traffic on the rail lines than I need to. Sorry, Poison. I think. Not completely. I worked at an asphalt plant. We have silos with basically lots of natural gas burners in it, and there's even dump trucks with a similar wear system. You can keep asphalt hot for days. Oh. Well, that's good to know, Double Nuts. That's cool. Today I learned. The game doesn't do that. The game makes asphalt an on-demand thing, dude. That's cool. I didn't know that. I know, I want them so bad. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to stockpile it. I mean, stockpiling it makes sense, right, Double? Like, it makes sense. What if you have an order for a highway to get done, and you want that done on any semblance of a quick schedule, right? You're gonna have to stockpile. You make a ton of it, and then you ship all of it out at once, right? So everything can get paved in like a couple of days. If not, the highway construction is beholden to the on-demand needs of the asphalt plant, which is dumb. Now you realize that evil will always triumph because good is dumb. Am I thinking about that correctly, Double Nuts? We did runways and you need a lot of asphalt basically all at once. Bingo. You have flux in your demand, which is, yeah, on-demand asphalt. I'll bet you that's the reason why somebody came up with that idea. Varying demand so you could stockpile more or less, which is funny because that's the exact idea I came up with the coal. It's going to be variable demand depending on what buildings we're making, right? Bro, we actually have made a 6-track wide train system, and it's actually needed, which is super cool. Actually, hold up. Give me 1 second. Longest train is 1,500, right? So if it's 1,500, the threshold for our signaling system here only needs to go about here. Let's just overestimate it. So these tracks don't need to go that far. The reason why I'm making my frontage track so long is because I'm taking into account the maximum length of a train in workers and resources, which is about 1,500 feet. Or about, like 400 and something meters and change. So this track really only needs to go to about here. So let's go here. Place some waypoints down. Go here, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Now what we do is we hook this track back in over here. And that is our frontage track for the cargo terminal. Construction mats go here. Yeah, I left myself a little bit of a note. Good luck, Crew 10, for tonight. Yeah, Pete, they'll be alright, dude. They got this. I hope. They did not move that Falcon 9 horizontal, as far as I can tell, so whatever the problem was, it didn't require taking the rocket sideways. Which tells me, you know what that screams? That screams bad sensor. That screams that a sensor is broken. That's what that tells me. It's been 20 years since you thought about it. You call them a hot mix silo. There you go. Not level at all. What the heck is this? Alright, so we need to build a spur line for waste disposal. Let's see, how are we gonna do this? Did you see past EJ? I did. Yep, I did. We're good. What's that, Ando? RAM manifold for steel refinery complex with modded visuals. What am I looking at here? Can trains turn around in the storages? Yes. Oh, jeez. Oh. Oh. That's, I'm gonna make mine a little bit cleaner than that. Yeah. Now, the only thing I don't really like about this is that that road is connecting into vehicle access. I want to see if we can, like, maybe get the road to connect in over here somewhere. Oh, wow, that actually works. I don't want trucks on this for the parking lot. The reason why, I'm trying to keep the traffic separated between where the trucks are going to be here and where the cars are going to be. Now, once again, I know people are going to see that and be like, dude, you made room for parking lots? Yes, I did. And I know the next question. Are you going to make something car-centric? I don't know yet. I have no idea. I've tried to do car-centric in the past, and it led to a lot of traffic jams. A lot of traffic jams. And part of that was because trucks and cars sharing the same road. I guess EJ didn't like it. What do you mean I didn't like it? It's cool. It's busy. There's a lot going on there, man. You gotta stay organized. There's tracks going everywhere. What are you doing? No, dude, if it works, who cares? Okay, so... Walt Disney be like, you gotta keep them separated. Alright, so the first thing we need is a Y. Why, you ask? Because... Gotta get rid of those nodes. There we go. Now keep in mind, what I'm thinking, dudes, is that I'm not sure if we should put the aggregate storage for different things here, or if we should put them here. I'm not 100% sure. What I do know is that we need this line for waste disposal. So, at the very least, that's what we're putting in. Little pro tip when you're making railroad tracks. You want your railroad tracks to look nice and clean? Make the straight part of the tracks first. Isn't that line you connected not the main line? What do you mean? They were just spacer tracks, Sneaky. I made these, I think, before you came in. I connected it. Yep. They were spacer tracks, but see, it was smart leaving those spacer tracks in there, wasn't it? Now we have both sides of the waste thing here, so what we're going to do, once again, is take into account theoretical maximum length of a train, right? And because these basically got to be two-way because the train has to go in and then back out, right? We got to take into account 1,500. Not that I think we're going to have a waste train that's this big, but the whole point is to be absolutely sure. So right here, so up, basically how I want my signaling logic to work is to have my train tracks be basically set up like a roadway. So the right lane is for trains going this way, and the left lane is for trains going this way. Now, because that's not a loop, right? That's not going to work. Because it's not a loop. So this crisscross right here will make it so if a train is on this block right here, loading up, and another waste train is coming for whatever reason, it'll be able to use this other track right here, get into the waste depot, right? And then get back out, and if it's coming back out right here, it'll be able to switch back. You do that by making the signaling over here omnidirectional. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm building in the provisions for the logic, but I find when you're constructing tracks, having signaling up just confuses the road building trains, or the track building trains, so just leave it the way it is. Now, we need aggregate loading. Let's put down the stuff that we need. We need train aggregate loading for coal. Baz, today a B-52 accompanied by two F-35s passed over my head. I felt the thing. It was beautiful. It was a good day. You hear the howl, dude? It sounds like nothing else. The whoo, you know, the plane's crazy, dude. I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying when I tell you it's like nothing else out there. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Is there like a throughput for this? Like, do we have a throughput for these types of aggregate loading? Like, does one load faster than another? Oh, station length. It won't be able to receive a bigger train. Those are the... Well, that one's an intermediate. But I'm wondering how station length is going to screw with us here. What's the cost of building that one versus the other one? This one takes no time at all. Oh. Consumption. That one is 3.5 megawatts. So is that one. So these two load the fastest by a long shot. This one is 1.2 megawatts. I don't think station length has any bearing on anything. It's just making the track longer. Yep. Are you winning? I'm trying. Station length determines load-unload time. All cars within the station are loaded-unloaded at the same time. Every car outside of the station is loaded one by one. Oh. Do you end up watching any more Uwo clips? I had the stream on Zivian Droid last night when he was burning incense. That was funny, but I fell asleep. But the thing is I don't need 4 tracks here. You know, we don't need 4 tracks of unloading. And in this particular case, it's going to be really hard to scale the aggregate loading if I needed to. So, all right. I'm thinking. What's the difference between the build time for this? That one is the one we have down. It takes 2,300 work days. That one takes 2,800. This one takes 500 tons more concrete, 2 tons more of asphalt, 2 tons more mechanical components, 94 tons of steel versus 72, 38 versus 35. But it takes longer to build it. I meant to do ground distance, Raiden. When I initially saw the title of the game, for some reason, I assumed they were showing a documentary about the Soviet Union. No. This is Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic, Vivian. So this game is it's a city builder game. But despite the communist veneer, it's one of the best and most capitalistic city builders I've ever played. This game is the best city builder on the market right now. Like, so yeah, you got to build your utopia, right? Like, which is pretty funny, but you got to basically run it like a company town. If you don't run it like a company town to make profit, you will collapse under crippling debt, which is kind of funny because that's basically how that happened in real life. Anyway, so you have city building aspects. You got to build houses, you got to build stores, you got to build shops, etc., etc. But you're also controlling the logistics as well. Okay, you put down a general store. People are going to go to it. If you don't supply it with food, you get red lines. You got to get the food from somewhere. Where's the food coming from? You can make it with farmland, or you can buy it on the market. This game has a dynamically shifting market. It's RNG what happens to the market throughout the timeline. Sometimes oil spikes. Sometimes you get an oil crisis in 1973 like what happened in real life. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get a coal crisis. Sometimes you get an iron ore crisis, right? You know, the market is dynamic. And the crazy thing about the market on top of that is that the markets in this game actually fluctuate depending on what you do. You can de-inflate the cost of something if you export too much of it. So like if you export too much crude, you flood the market with crude and the price of crude goes down in game, which is super cool. No other game, no other city builder I've ever played is even on this level. No one's done this. It's awesome, dude. The other thing about it is like when you're building factories, like if you build a coal mine in like another city builder, you just place the coal mine and then boom, your coal mine produces coal. In this, you have the mine, sure. The mine doesn't produce coal. It produces coal ore. You have to refine it. You have to put it through a refining process. And you have to refine it to pure coal. Right? So you basically need to build the factory that produces coal. You're not just building the mine. You have to build all the paraphernalia that comes with it. All these buildings produce waste. The coal mine is going to produce aggregate, like extra aggregate. It's going to produce waste. Because not everything that you pull out of the ground in a coal mine is going to be coal. Some of it's going to be just rocks. So you have to deal with that, which is why I have this waste dump right here connected to tracks so I can get in and remove all the waste. Right? The coal processing plants produce waste from the refining process. You got to take that into account. You have to take into account plumbing. You have to take into account electricity. You have to take into account drainage. You have to take into account sewage. Well, not drainage and sewage are the same thing in this game. It is you have to micromanage everything. So building just a coal plant like this, right, is like a mini game in this, a mini game in the game, like where you're basically playing Factorio. You got to take into account belt speed. You got to take into account processing rates. You got to take into account extraction rates. The game is a nerd's nerd game of games, dude. I love it. I love this game. Does this game have coal-based synthetic fuel processes? I don't think so. Yeah, dude. It scratches the itch, man. I don't know what that itch is, but it scratches it. I'm like, yeah. Look at this. Look at this perfectly symmetrical, beautiful, well choreographed out coal mining and refining processing facility. Oh, right? Like, it scratches some itch. I don't know what the itch is, but it scratches it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm building out train tracks. But see, you notice that all the roads that I've built in this are dirt roads, and the train tracks are just a kind of right away. You have to build everything. You have to build the roads. Where are you getting the asphalt from to build roads? Are you even making the roads out of asphalt? There's a bunch of different types of roads. There's paved roads, concrete, gravel roads. There's roads with street lights. The road with the street light, you better be close to a transformer. If you're not close to a transformer, the street lights don't work. Yeah, you have to build out an electrical grid or else nothing works. You know, all these take gravel to grade the road. You need bulldozers, you need gravel, you need pavers, you need rollers, you need people to work on it. Like, this game takes into account everything, which is, like, once again, it's super cool. I love this game. Yeah, you want to build all this? Good. You need a construction depot. You need a construction depot with dump trucks, cement mixers, cranes, hauling vehicles. If you need steel, you need a truck to bring the steel to the job site. You don't bring steel to the job site, guess what? It doesn't get built. Yeah, dude, this game scratches the itch, man. Like I said, every city builder should be like this, dude. This is like, they broke the mold when they made this game. And what gets me, dude, is like 3 dudes made this. 3 guys made this over 5 years, which is bananas to me. Hey, Sue Rat. And when I see it in action, it'll be more impressive. Are you guys subtly, not so subtly telling me to get back to work? Okay, cool. Does it calculate weather, particularly cold? You need heating plants? Sure. And when it snows, home planet, I hope you have snow plows or else your roads don't work. Yep. We will later. Yeah, this game is... It's the tops, man. It's the best city builder. It's not even close. Alright, that could be fine for that. Now, let's just build out here. Does that fit? It's close. Alright, hold on. I want to line it up with the tracks, and I use tracks as spacers to make sure stuff gets lined up. So let me go. Let me rebuild that train aggregate loading. And that's what I was thinking. I was going back to my aggregate unloading. Should we... You gonna watch the Electron Curie launch, assuming the crew capsule launches? Yeah. Crew 10 is gonna fly, and then right after Crew 10, we're gonna go into Electron. We're gonna go into Lightning God Reigns, and then right after that, Sewer Rat, we're getting ready for Friday Night Racing, man. I don't know, maybe we should build this. You know what? I'm gonna go with 2 tracks. I don't really see us... I really hope I don't eat these words. I don't really see us needing more than this, to be honest with you. There you go. And now it's lined up on the spaced out track. See? No, it's not exactly. It's close. Famous last words. Well, drummer, my buck to that is that I'll leave this space empty right here. And if we need another one, we build it next to it. Right? Like, now why am I building aggregate loading in the first place? Well, you need coal for a bunch of different things. You need it for bricks. You need it to make bricks. You need it to make cement. You need it to make steel. In this game, you make carbonated steel. You need it for energy. So what I'm doing is I'm putting in the provisions for aggregate loading just in case, like if I'm building somewhere remotely and we have tracks out there, I could bring in a ton of coal from my coal reserve right here. Yeah, you need a lot of it for steel. Arpazak, if I do end up building a steel mill, it's probably going to end up over here somewhere. Because the iron mine is there. If not, it'll probably end up somewhere on the coast over here or whatever. But, yeah. Now here is my quandary. You know, like, do we just bite the bullet and say just... I mean, if this thing is going to a steel mill, we are going to need a lot of coal. But putting provisions for 4 tracks in here, guys, is... that's going to make this get a little crazy. Dude, a 6-track complex like this is... how would I even build this? Six track is too much. Yeah, it's too much, Sneaky. I don't foresee us needing that. Can you get a reasonable deal on an upgrade? Well, if I wanted to up... oh, okay. All right, sorry. You're home playing. You're talking to Raiden. All right, cool, cool. What I could do is just build this here for minimum capability, right? And then just build a bigger one down there, right? We have plenty of room. Like I said, I'd leave extra space, right? But the problem is we leave extra space for the 4-track freaking mechanism. Like, the problem is the tracks are going to be... I'm going to need to run, like, 4 lanes of track around the corner right here, right? And then those got to connect into my... to track over here. That's... the 4-way you'll be set for a long time. Yeah. It's gonna be rail hell. Yeah, you're telling me. Alright, well. The thing is that we need cement. We need cement. What's your academic background? Aerospace, physics? I'm self-taught when it comes to engineering, Zivian. Yeah, what drummer has the command? I'm a 3D artist by trade. I just really like engineering. Figured that out after I graduated college, so, you know, I got that going for me, which is nice. But I've been doing STEM outreach here on Twitch for a really long time. Show people how cool engineering is. This is awesome. Like, what does it take to put a rocket into space? Well, it takes a lot. It starts with an industry like this, which I think is super cool, man. I also like explosions. That's like... I like very, very high shock energy releases. You know, so Uwo's Lab and I can kind of see eye on eye. We see eye to eye on that. All right, I was just thinking I have a kind of a better idea. How are you bringing workers to this thing? I have it set up for buses right now, Ando. But a train station right here might not be the worst idea either. Like, there's nothing stopping me from putting a station right here. Problem is, there's no station in my actual city, but that's... I'm working on it. I have a huge cargo terminal in my city, but not a train station. But we could. I was planning on building a Y to go into the city over here that goes underneath the highway, and then putting well, I had the idea of 3 train stations, one right here, and then one right here. So you have 3 stations that service the city. Can players make a realistic roundabout in this game? Yeah, sure. I'm utilizing roundabouts all over the city. But roundabouts, just like real life, they don't really work on like highways and stuff. They work for moving around in the city. Yeah, they don't really roundabouts can saturate. When they saturate, they become useless. If you get a chain of cars that's going all the way around, you get gridlock, and then they don't work at all. Now, you can have regular intersections. You can have stoplights in this game. You can have stop signs, yield signs. You have to set the road logic, dude. That's the other thing. You gotta set it. You gotta say which road has priority. Like, when we go to build this, when I pave the roundabout, you could set it to here, and I can say which way has priority. Obviously, we're going to put a yield sign there, and the roundabout's going to have priority, so whoever's coming down this road is going to take precedent of people going in and out of the road, right? You have to set logic on every node, which is actually super cool. And you can fine-tune it. If you set your traffic lights, you can set the intervals on your traffic lights. You can do delayed greens if you really want to. You could set a delayed green light for an interchange. Like, dude, once again, yeah, this game is really, really good. It's really good. Is there a launch today? Yeah, Netlag, we got Crew 10 coming. Can aggregate loading have multiple inputs to say both coal and gravel? I don't see why not, Andrew. Oh, that's a good idea, dude. That's a really good idea. Doing that basically justifies building the freaking big thing. Building the big guy. We'd have to get a coal belt out there, but aggregate storage cannot hold 2 types at the same time, but you can feed 2 storages into one station. And Drummer, what this game likes is buffer storage, right? You connect your storages directly to aggregate. Right? You have to put a buffer storage that's one degree of separation away, or else the game doesn't read it correctly. Okay, I'm thinking. I don't mind putting this here. Let me just start taking some measurements. It's awfully close to that Y. Actually, we'd be measuring from here. What's the threshold that I did for the cargo terminal? 15, okay, 1500. So we measure from here. It's awfully close. Okay. This is in flux, so that means that siding, the spur line that we made doesn't necessarily, that goes to the waist, that doesn't necessarily need to, that doesn't necessarily need to be here. We can move it. Okay. Now, what about the other direction? Now, once again, why am I measuring 1500? I'm measuring 1500. We don't have enough room there. The bridge is in the way. I'm measuring 1500 because that's theoretical max length of the train. The train won't do a train longer than 1500 feet. And if I have like a really short siding right here, like if we did something like this, right? That's not going to do me any good because that train is going to back up onto the frontage line here. Right? We don't want that. Because say a coal train backs up onto this frontage line and the waste train needs to come in here to get trash out of here. If that train's backing up onto my frontage line, right, that train could potentially back up onto my main line. This right here is the main throughway for the tracks. I put frontage lines here so we don't get traffic jams on our railroad lines. The exact same reason why you'd put frontage roads on a road. Same deal. Trains do this all the time. They do the exact same thing. You don't want to have a long train backing up onto a track, especially if it's stopped and loading and unloading. So, the lines coming in and out of this bulk storage area, right? Lines coming in and out of here need to be at least this long. On both sides. Once again, maximum planning. So, see the problem? Now, simultaneously, all four of these lines need to hook into each other, and then on top of all that, they all need to hook into each other and then go into my frontage road, or the frontage line. See how that jives? That doesn't jive very well with that spur line being there. So, what is our solution? Hey, Older Buffalo, what's up, dude? 23-month resub. But how often will the waistline be used? Not very often. All right, hold on. I got an idea. Okay, so let's just put those down and just pretend that that's there. What else do we need? The other things that we need were dry bulk storage, right? Or dry bulk loading and unloading. Railway. There's only one type. Let's just, you know, we would have to have gravel and coal inputs going into this aggregate, right? So dry bulk is for cement, and the cement production is going to be across the track. So Let me just be absolutely sure, make sure I can run a line going across here. This one has high output. Can we run dry bulk from there to... How am I going to get dry bulk to cross all these damn railroad lines? My setup when we played last, it can get very messy very quickly. Well, I'm trying to avoid that exact problem, drummer, right now. Helicopters? I've got an idea. I need to test something. All right. What I'm thinking... Actually, hold on. Let me just do it. We'll see what happens. Okay, so you got a nice flat area here. Obviously, we're not making it unless I do some real finagling with the tracks and make the tracks kind of loop around the supports for the aggregate belts. We're not putting those above the tracks. So what happens if we put them underneath the tracks? What I'm trying to see here is if I can get, like, okay, so we have dry bulk storage, right? Let's just use this one, because this one has low outputs, right? And let's see if we can find one here that has a lower input, like this. All right, that gets us our aggregate belt. Now, train bridge. Okay. It does work. I'm gonna try to see if there's a way that we can keep the belts even lower. Let's go back into dry bulk, right? That's a road crossing, so that's not gonna work. That's as low as it's gonna get. Try conveyor raised to conveyor raised. That's a good idea. It's gonna keep the things pretty flat, but yeah, see? We must go deeper. There's a problem here, though. The water is right there. That is at sea level. Now, output on the right being at its lowest. Now, the real question, drummer, is how many bridges can we get across this thing? You raise the track bed 6 lines across. Dude, what I want is the 4 lines. I want to get four wide. That's it. That 4 wide is good enough to solve this problem. Because I could have, right? We could have this other conveyor. Oh, see? Can't do it. You gotta make the belt first. Build order matters. If I move this thing just a little bit further apart, right? That has a low feed, so hold on one second. Dry bulk. I thought I saw something with low inputs. That one has an extremely low input, but that's also train feed. Ah, crap. And if a fire destroys it, we can't really rebuild it, can we? I'm thinking. We'll get it. We can do this. We just gotta figure out what's the best solution here. I'm wondering if the dry bulk is... No, it's not max conveyor range. Max conveyor range would make it a lot lower. But that would mean that I would need this right up, like teed up right next to the tracks. And then the dry bulk receiver would be over here some. Raise that rail. Q and E.
Throttle up.
I don't think I need to. What's the distance here? Let's just take distance, take into account distance all told. 420 feet. Nice. Alright, so we need to be at least 2 grid spots off the rails. So if we did this, like, say, right here, figuratively, that's popping out right there. About high to high. This is just a test. I just wanted to see if it would work. The high to high might actually get us up over the tracks enough. So, like, we place that there. No, it's not enough to get over those. Hey, Chief. But that's over 10 tracks. Let's just try dry bulk over. Really? What happens if we move it like way over here? Oh. It might be about leaving a threshold here. Hold on. Put that guy right here. There might be a sweet spot that we can use. Nope. Yeah. When you finally unpause, will it work on building all of this at the same time? No, no. I will say what I want it to work on. You can have it try to do it automatically, Toothless, but we do not have enough money to do all of this. We barely have enough money to do maybe the train depot and maybe the power plant, maybe, and then maybe a little like minimum viable cargo. I have to design some early game industries, and I haven't done that yet. The particular reason why we're working on this over here is because I needed utilities, so I started working on electrical. And because I worked on electrical and worked on the electrical power plant, I just figured getting coal figured out would be a good idea because that's what's feeding it, right? And also because coal is going to take up heating, and we got to figure out heating. Heating is a utility here. So we got to figure that out, and then I got to figure out plumbing, and then I got to figure out sewage on top of all that. And only then can you really start designing the city. You got to get all the utilities planned so you know where to place the buildings, so the buildings, have enough heat, have enough power, etc., etc. So, yeah, like, it's complicated. We're We're untangling a lot of wires this way, so to speak. Space a larger track between the main lines and the frontage so it has room for a support. That's certainly a solution, Andrew. I wish I could make a flat belt. Did you see the Satisfactory 1.1 teaser trailer? No, I have not yet. So that one style of aggregate storage has an extremely low input. Do you think you'll be able to see Falcon 9 Crew 10 tonight? It depends on if it's cloudy or not. I haven't seen a Falcon 9 over my house in a really long time, Dan. It's always cloudy up here. I don't know what the hell that's about, but it's probably bad timing. Remember, solution also needs to get coal across and for brick and such. I'm not worried about that because of the aggregate storage inputs. I can basically make a flat belt. Problem is that damn dry bulk storage, but the other unfortunate part of that is that the dry bulk storage is... Alright. Okay. Andrew, it's clearly easier to put dry bulk storage. Like, it's clearly easier to get an aggregate storage belt. What the hell was that? Huh. I heard the pop. I heard steam sounds. Okay, what I was saying, it's easier to get aggregate belts underneath. So it might be better to do cement on this side, right? Why not? Just put cement on this side so we don't have to worry about this problem. It's easier to get belts underneath all this stuff, right? Way easier. So if we use this area for cement, to make cement, and put all of our cement paraphernalia here, right? And then, you know, granite, you know, whatever granite supply we decide to use, right? We could use like this one right here. We can belt it underneath the tracks. We belt it underneath the tracks, right? So we can go over, right? And then we could belt it to here. Right? We could put our granite producing things over here and have a belt go back over into storage. Right? Is that... I'll tell you what did it is that damn Sasquatch. I'll tell you who took those lunches. That damn Sasquatch. It's easier to get throughput with the belts, with aggregate belts than it is with dry bulk. Right? So if that's the case, put dry bulk on the side that we can't get it over, right? And then, you know, while I'm here, I might as well put a road. Might as well build the road that goes this way. Can the belts get over 4 tracks? No. That's 8. Oh. Yeah, of course they can. Now the real question is, could dry bulk as well? I mean, we could have everything go down to where it's 4 tracks, cross and go back. I actually think that's probably going to be the simplest way to get this done, dude. Yeah, I don't mind that, Andrew. I don't mind doing that. We can go forward with the original plans this way. Man, these facilities are going to be epic, dude. I really hope I can get to the point where I get these things to work. But it should be pretty foolproof once we get to that point, too. Yeah, they don't have any problems crossing 4 tracks. It's crossing 8. So the other thing we could do, I'll bet you spacing the tracks correctly probably does it. If we spaced the 8 tracks correctly. All right, let me try another experiment here. Oh boy, an experiment. Let's give two tracks of spacing, right? And then say our proverbial 4 unloading tracks is like right here. Then dump that one and dump that one, right? Now let's try to see if we can get a belt to cross this. I saw it. I saw it. It wanted it. It wanted it. Oh! Let's go, dude. There we go. That is the most simple solution by a long shot. It's a shame. I kind of like the, It's a shame. I kind of like the under the track belt solution, but that by far is the easiest way. That by far is the easiest way. It's going to be way cheaper doing that. Okay, double track spacing can solve this problem. Easily solve this problem. So, bye-bye, 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 bye-bye. All right, that's what we're gonna go with, dude. So let's do train aggregate loading. Let me just set my spacers here. All right, that should be good enough. Oh, nice, Trey. That's awesome. You're working on your scale raptor. Pretty cool, man. All right. That should be pretty lined up. Now let's measure. We need 1,500 feet for the threshold for the tracks. Yeah, Andrew, I agree. It's a good idea. Flash Booty.
Discovery.
65 month resub. Thank you. All right. Well, we don't want to train backing up onto the main line, so we're actually going to have to measure this backwards. So we measure here. Right, I have to put a little bit of a threshold because that line starts there. Now, what we could do... Actually, that doesn't need to be there. This design is very much in flux, so this doesn't need to be here. We could push it... We could push that line down here. And then have this... do that. There we go. Hey, it's me. What's up? Now, once again, we don't want a train backing up onto the main line, so we need to take into account 1,500 here, which puts us basically at the bridge. All right, excellent. That makes that a lot easier. So now we measure the 1,500 threshold from here, because that's where the front of the train would be. And then for the waiting track here, for the waiting track, see this? This is the one where you have signal logic to denote what line to go on. This also makes the lines omnidirectional. I took into account, I did 824 feet. I don't know why I did 800 feet, but I'm sure there was a good reason. There was a reason for that. They do that. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, so let's just say that we build a branch right here and it starts here. So 824 feet. It's going to basically stop there. And then we need our crossing to the entrance here. And if I want to build a switch track like that 4 wide, we need to measure from here. Basically the start of the cargo terminal, which is about 1,500 feet. Have you given much thought into how large your initial starting settlement will be population-wise? I zoned a bunch of streets over here uncapping for initial population. Not going to be too big. Maybe fill up like that area, and that's about it. And then this area will just be a mirror of that. And then this one right here will be an amalgam of those two. Basically, we expand very, very deliberately and very, very close. Like, I want a very walkable city, but I also want a city that, you know, very walkable, good for cars, good for buses. But yeah, initially I'm going to start planning in this area right here. And then I'm going to start placing basic industry like textiles. Now, clothing does not have that big of a environmental footprint. It's, yeah, the clothing factory does not pollute very much. So I was thinking maybe putting the clothing factories like right here, or go under the bridge and go right here. Plus shifts to cover town services. Yeah, that should cover everything. We're gonna start with textile, and crude oil. I think that'll do us right. And then once we're cash flow positive, then as we make the money, we start zoning in all of this stuff. Dude, but there's still a lot to do. We could do clothing. I need to go over here and we need to design crude. The crude oil thing. There's a lot of stuff, dude. I think once I get all the construction mats and utilities up, then I'm going to go over here. We'll start designing out basics, get crude oil figured out, and then technical depots, and then actually we should be good to start building. Like we're approaching that pretty fast. What I don't need to plan is basically the rest of this city. We don't need to plan that out right now. The city will grow as we zone out more industries. We'll plan in segments. As long as like the master plan here is figured out, we should be fine. How are you gonna finance all this? Clothes and crude should be enough to get me off the ground right off the bat jumping. Clothes and crude. Also, we could look at waste incineration. Import the waste, make some cash, and then incinerate it. The other thing that I could do is just import a bunch of hazardous waste. Don't need to burn it. Just store it. Store that stuff. It's basically a loan in the beginning of the game that you pay out with pollution. You know? You need a textile factory for clothing. Yeah, I know. We could I'll build my clothing factory with the provisions to build the fabric factory, but I'm probably not going to do it. At least initially. We'll build the clothing factories first, import the fabric, then once we have enough to build basically the infrastructure to the border, then we'll start importing the fabric. See what I mean? The whole thing with this game is to bite off a little bit at a time, right? You're not going to build all of this all at once. That's not happening, right? You know that, I know that, everybody knows that. We're not building it all at once. You gotta take small bites, right? That's how you gotta do this. So that's what I'm going to do. The thing is that I'm designing everything, and I'm designing it in a way that we can easily take off small bites, but we don't have to, like, okay, so when we get to the point where the fabric factory is good to go, right, and we pull the trigger on building the fabric factory, we won't need to think about it. It's just build it. Build it. We have all the angles figured out. Just build the dang thing. It makes it easy. Doing all the planning now and taking into account everything. This is the best way to do this. And so, like, the cool thing is that I'll start building out this city, right? And this city will start going. And then, while this place is building out, with the game unpaused, we can go over here and design the second city. There's going to be another city over here. Because we have coal, iron, and a big oil supply basically right next to each other. So this is going to be a heavy industry city over here. Like, heavy on the industry. Just a question. Are you covering Starlink 1216 at 6:30 a.m.? Kelly, if I'm feeling it, I might need another cup. Might need a couple cups of coffee. It's unlikely. But every other launch between now and then, yeah, sure. Hey, Nick. Tippy for your oil holio. Yes. Oil holio. And that spacing will lengthen your tracks because of the bend. That may help with train length issues. Yep. Yeah, Andrew. Yep. So the cargo can be accessible both ways. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You took a nap this morning and stayed up late. Night was the first races meeting, so yeah, I had a blast. Nice. Nice. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to work. Where was I? Track spacing. That's what I was working on. But we're gonna need a threshold here. That threshold is good enough. Now, I had an interesting idea, dudes. The interesting idea was before I just had a Y over here. We had a Y. My new idea, and that Y could potentially get in the way with a bunch of things, right? Like the long lines that I need for cement and for aggregates, right? Could potentially get in the way. How about we do this? How about I put that back over there, right? And then, right, this is just, you know, basic, right? And then just hook this in with all the tracks that are gonna inevitably come back in here, right? Just make the Y go around the entire aggregate storage. I don't see any issues with that particularly, as long as we have good enough spots for level crossing, so I can still. Yeah, as long as we have good enough spots for level crossings, we should be fine. Now I'm kind of wishing I could put waste storage like right here, so. Yeah. My sister is #1 politician in YAKOGRAD Republic. Yes, very nice. Oh, I just inadvertently built it right across from the feed over there. Huh. There we go, 820 feet. NASA is online. Frick, already? Well, I didn't get anywhere near what I wanted to get done here. That's good. Crap. Got to come back to this after the launch. Well, after the launch, there's Electron. And then after Electron, I got Friday Night Racing. And then after Friday Night Racing, I got Transporter 13. And then there's Starling 12-16 at 6:31 a.m. Which, like I said, unlikely. That would be like an 18-hour stream at that point. I'm probably not going to do that. And then I gotta do that whole sleep thing because this meat suit needs to do that every once in a while, which is dumb, but hey, whatever. It's not my decision, Junie. The Flame Trench is on Saturday, dudes. Are you still playing Fallout? I haven't played Fallout in a little while, Jumpin'. We could, but yeah, I haven't played in a little while. Do you want dinner now or later? Now would probably be better. Remo, I'm going to be solid booked. The only other time to eat would be after the Electron, which is 9 o'clock. Man, I'm absolutely booked up. Like, basically until 3 in the morning. That's great. Flame trenches tomorrow, by the way, guys. Oh, you're damn right, Fluffy. We're gonna have to work on this on Monday, guys. The 2-track spacing is the belt solution here, so what I'm gonna do is oh no. Oh yeah, oh wait, hold up. Sorry. The belts need to cross down here. So real quick, so I don't forget, we need 1, 2, 1, 2. Those are my spacer tracks. Putting there as a template for future EJ to know. I'll put the dry bulk there too. There. Visiting Orlando, we wanted to go see the launch tonight. What's the best spot to go? 101 Plate and Blade in Titusville. Pretty decent spot. You could also go to Jetty Park, even though that costs money. And Jetty Park is only open so late. Jetty Park's probably going to be packed, but Jetty Park is a good spot to look. That's down in Cocoa Beach. That's in Port Canaveral. Yeah. Titusville was going to give you a better viewing experience, a better launch viewing experience. Jetty Park will give you a better landing experience. Jetty Park's closer to the landing site. Titusville's closer to the launch site. NASA's online. You've definitely said that already, W, like 5 minutes ago, and I acknowledged it. I don't know what the need was to post the exact same thing again, saying the exact same thing even after I said yes, I understand. Like what was the point of that other than to stress me out even more? Because I'm not making the progress that I want on this. What was the other intention here? Because now I'm stressed out about getting this done. So I appreciate that one, man. I appreciate it, man, but that's not helping. You're killing me, dude. You're missing that NASA loading screen. All right. Well, that's going to do for part 16. We'll do the next part on Monday.
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Norath. Thanks for the 5. Appreciate it, man. Feel like Nick Cage, you got it 60 seconds yet? I just stole 50 cars for you in one night. What does Cletus mean? Cletus is a YouTuber that I like to watch. Pigeon, he's a car YouTuber. This is his hat. I stole it. I didn't steal it, I bought it. Raymond, hey boss, been a rough couple of days here. Hope you're doing good. Nah, other than chat's just stressing me out. You know, it's fine, Ray. No, Rat, just closed on your condo, sharing the love. Hey, congratulations, man. There you go. Awesome. All right. I'm going to take a second here to jog the VODs, and then, yeah, we'll move to Crew 10 coverage. Guys, yeah, I got it. I'm not making the progress on YAKOGRAD that I really want to. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't really matter. But I really, really want to get to the point sometime soon where we hit the unpause button, you know? So getting this done expediently is a priority for me. I don't want to sit there and have the game paused for like 2-3 months straight, you know? Thanks for the info. What would you recommend for newbies, launch or landing? Just go to Titusville, dude. Here, I'll show you on the map. Yeah, Mutter, exactly. So, plate. Jetty Park is down here. That's Jetty Park. Right there. It's a campground. It costs money to get in there, and you have to buy tickets online. Okay? But Jetty Park has, well, a jetty, right? That's on the end of the port, right? And the landing site is right here. Here, if I... Google Earth doesn't like to cache these images, right? See? There's the landing site. Right there. See what I'm talking about? That's going to give you a really nice shot of the landing. The launch site is way up here at 39A. That's 15 miles or 13 miles away. Titusville, but it's 13 miles away from the launch, but 6 miles away from landing, okay? So remember that, 13 and 6. If you watch from 101 in Titusville, that's this road right here. Like, there's a bunch of launch viewing areas right there. It's going to be packed, though, but yeah, that's free, right? And if you watch from there, you're 16 miles away from landing, but you're 12 miles away from launch. Closer to launch, further away from landing. Those are the really only two good spots that are like relatively accessible. Dude, the best spot used to be SR 401. So like right here, you could watch. They even had like bleachers and stuff. You could watch all up in here. You watch the launches, but the Space Force didn't like a bunch of cars parked on their access portal to their military installation. So they stopped doing that. You used to be able to watch it all up in here. Really good view because you have nothing but water in front of you. Yeah, I would say Titusville. Just do the Titusville one because it's free, but get there a little bit early. You probably should start heading that way like soon. Because yeah, it's gonna fill up. I'd say go like with 2 hours remaining or something. And probably if it's your first time, if it's your first time watching, you should see the launch. Are you restarting the YouTube stream? That's what I'm gonna do, Peter. Yep. Yeah, out of town people screwed that up. Yes, because idiots double parked on the damn road. And they kept doing it. Like tourists double parked on the road. And yeah, idiots. Like the Space Force said, and like, don't get me wrong, it's not the Space Force being jerks about this. They were very lenient. They were like, yeah, please don't park on the road. Please don't park on the road. Please don't park on the road. They put out a bunch of bulletins to not park on the road, and then people still did, and they said, fine, no one views here anymore. Some commander got pissed. But yeah, plate. So second thing, is this your first time? Is this your first launch? Have you ever seen one before? Because if it's your first time, put your phone away. Don't take your phone out during the launch. And that goes for everybody else here. Your first rocket launch, take, maybe zoom in with your camera, take a picture of the rocket before it launches. But when it launches, do not take your phone out. Just watch. Just watch it. There will be other launches that you can film with your phone. Trust me. Your first rocket launch, just watch it and enjoy the show. Bask in its glory. Woody, how you doing? All right, guys. You guys know the drill. I'm going to jog the VOD. We'll switch over to NASA, the Crew 10 coverage, and hopefully we get a launch today. It's going to be all rocket launches and race cars, basically, for the next, 10 hours on this stream. So we'll pick up workers on Monday, okay? Next week, we will make it Workers Week. And, yeah, I want to get work done. I want to get some work done. It took me this entire week coming back from Starbase, to kind of remember what I was working on in Workers. That's why we had to redo the coal. But yeah, now we're cooking with coal or gas or something. Anyway, so I'm gonna switch over to coverage here in a second. On Twitch you'll see a momentary pause. You'll see the title card here for a second. On YouTube, I'm gonna jog the VOD, and I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in a minute for Crew 10 coverage.